Are you ready?
I am ready, monsieur.
Ready to go?
Wait,
Are we going to do this podcast in French?
no, today's podcast is in English.
Okay, because
We could try.
happily do it in Greek if you like.
You could do it in Greek, I'll do it in French. Is that okay?
Hello, everyone. Chris Kapches, CEO of Chestnut Park
That's
Real
what-
Estate.
yeah, that's it.
And to my left,
Is Doug Gubitz, and I'm the president of Chestnut Park Real Estate. Glad to be here again for our dixième, our 10th
podcast.
It's very exciting.
And thank you for everyone that's been tuning in. We've been getting amazing feedback.
We
in
have.
fact, it's the feedback that has actually driven the wines that we're going to be tasting today. You can see that we have two whites, both Chablis from Burgundy, and both accessible financially, and I would say also even from a taste perspective.
Style perspective.
Yeah, style perspective.
Yeah.
And the reason why we have these accessible wines today, which we'll get into and Doug can describe in a little while, is because we had some criticism from one of our previous podcasts that some of the wines that we had featured, of course, coming from Doug's wine cellar, were inaccessible to most people
And also unavailable.
and unavailable. And if you could find them, perhaps a little bit on the pricey side. So
Not necessarily when I bought them,
but today.
but today they would be. Yeah.
But today. And they were primarily Bordeaux's. So here we are with these accessible wines today. Doug can very briefly tell us what they are before we get into the topics of our podcast.
So with a view to looking at wines that you could actually buy right now at reasonable prices.
And I should mention that you bought these today.
I went to Vintages this morning en route to the office and thought, since we're always talking about the whites that we're drinking as they relate to Burgundy and Chablis, right? This could be a Chablis. So currently on the shelf are these two Chablis. One is, I believe, the Lefebvre is $38 and change, and La Chablisienne is 32. I think 32.
You know what's going to happen? We're still going to get a complaint that they're still inaccessible.
Too expensive, yeah. Well, we can go lower next time, but for the time being, relative to what we've been usually drinking, even the wines out of, for example, the county, were double or more than this price. One of them
was.
Yeah.
One of them.
So that's what we're going to do. Two Chablis, both from 2023. We both like Chablis a lot. They tend to be crisp and light on their feet and aromatic, and we'll see how it goes.
I should admit to our audience that I have had the
Lefebvre.
William Fèvre, and I think it's absolutely spectacular.
It's vintage by vintage, though, and these are 23s. I enjoy it
May
a
I
lot.
taste just?
You may. That's the Lefebvre.
This is the Fèvre.
Yeah.
Get a lot of lemon in the nose.
I'm getting back to that pineapple thing that we mentioned
And
in
pineapple.
the last
Yes.
podcast, which I don't know.
Yes.
I never thought about it until we started doing this.
Yes.
But that's very pineapple-y. And what do you think, Christian? Pineapple-y?
I even get it in the finish.
Yeah, a little bit. This is a denser vintage than I recall. They're normally
Yes.
a little lighter on their feet.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is kind of rich and kind of a bit cloying. Maybe it's just too young.
Maybe.
Although, you typically drink a reasonably priced Chablis 2-3 years old.
2 or 3 years, exactly.
Right. So
Exactly.
I think in 1 year, these things change very, very quickly. Like it would be
Agreed.
interesting. I have to have one bottle left of the 22 of this. Whoop.
I'm gonna,
What is this?
and I get the pineapple also in the in our other one.
I haven't tried that yet. Hold on. Is that going to fall off? Maybe, yeah. You know what? If at the end we think this was a good little comparison that people can do, we should get another bottle of this at 23, and we'll compare the next time the 22 and the 23
The
to see if Chablis moves in a year.
Chablisienne, is that the way it pronounced?
I think it's La Chablisienne.
Chablisienne. It's cleaner. The finish. It's not the cloying that the Fèvre is.
I considerably prefer La Chablisienne.
100%.
It's
And I wouldn't
lighter.
have thought that before we
No,
started.
neither would I. Well, that's a very interesting.
Interesting. See, this is why these tastings are always eye-opening,
Absolutely.
because sometimes what comes out of that bottle is totally unexpected, like the subjects that we're going to be discussing.
Correct.
Today.
We have 2.5 discussions.
May
perhaps.
I begin, or would you like to begin?
No, I'd like
first?
you to, because you're going to take the lead on the first one, which is very timely.
Yeah, the first subject that we'd like to decant is something that is sort of the elephant in the room as far as the real estate industry is concerned.
That's well said. Yeah.
The people may be aware of this. Certainly, anyone in the industry is aware of this. That recently, one of the largest real estate brokerages went bankrupt. That in and of itself would probably not be a subject matter for the podcast, but what the regulator discovered, being the Ontario, the Real Estate Council of Ontario, is that the brokers had actually used trust funds.
A lot of them.
A lot of them. The brokers claim that they used them for the purposes of running the business, although there are some lawsuits now that have developed claiming that, in fact, those funds were used for personal matters. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. The fact is, for those that aren't aware of it, trust funds are sacrosanct. They should not be in any way dealt with other than the process of transactions. Those funds belong to other people. They belong initially to the buyer in the form of a deposit, and then ultimately they belong to the seller, either all of them or part of them. And I might add, to some extent, they belong to the realtors.
Yeah, but through the seller.
Through the seller.
Through the seller's obligation.
Through the seller. Unfortunately, that is not what happened in this situation. And a brokerage of 2,400 agents
And 17 offices.
and 17 offices went down. Substantial amounts of money are outstanding. There are consumers that have been impacted. There are agents that have been impacted. But the worst part of it is the way the regulator, RECO, Real Estate Council of Ontario, dealt with this matter. Because unfortunately, all sorts of things have become public. And one of them is the agreement entered into between the principals of iPro, which was the name of the company, and the regulator. And in that agreement, the principals were exonerated for their not only bad behavior, but effectively criminal behavior.
I think it's not effectively. I think it actually is criminal.
Yeah.
And the police, through the Ontario Provincial Police, should have been involved in this initially and immediately.
100%.
But it took 3 months before anybody found out about this.
And the reason we're mentioning it is twofold. One, we're not happy with the regulator. And I think the entire industry got a black eye in that regard. And I not only speak for Doug and I when I say that we're incensed by what has happened, but also I want to make it clear that not everyone treats the trust account the way the iPro principals treated the trust account. Brokers do treat the trust account as a sacrosanct component of the real estate operation. So to give some comfort to the consumer that in fact they don't need to worry about their trust monies when they're with brokerages. Bad apples are in any industry, and recently, for those that have been following these sorts of stories, there was a story in the press about some lawyers who used trust monies for personal reasons, quite obviously for personal reasons. So this is a troubling component of what the iPro default has led to. Black eye for the industry, a black eye for the regulator, RECO. And we have to be diligent in how we protect the consumer's funds. And we want to convey in this podcast that good brokerages regard those funds as sacrosanct. And am I overstating?
Yeah, no, it's inherent in the word for the account. It's a trust.
It's a trust,
I
and
trust
it's a regulated trust.
Of course.
It's a legislative trust.
These are statutory accounts. It's no different between a lawyer's trust account and a real estate broker's trust account. They are statutory accounts, and they're governed by very, very strict rules and regulations, as they should be.
As they should be.
Because we're handling a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Both lawyers' trust accounts and real estate brokerages' trust accounts handle a huge amount of money. We think about the number of trades in the year. In the Toronto Real Estate Board, it's 60, 70,000 trades. Every one of them has.
We wish it were more.
We wish it was more, but every one has associated with it a substantial amount of money on deposit,
Right.
pending the completion of the transaction. And I should have the confidence to know that the brokerage that I sent my money to is going to disperse it according to the terms of the trust on completion. I think we're all entitled to that.
Mm-hmm.
And we're entitled to a lot more stringent oversight
By RECO.
by RECO. I think we all are. Listen, there's always going to be somebody who's going to do something wrong, but we have to.
Well, it happens every day. That's why we have a criminal justice system.
Exactly, but we are also entitled as consumers and users of a regulatory system to count on the fact that once something like this does happen, it is dealt with swiftly, transparently.
Correct.
The transparent piece, I think, is the one that really irks us.
Correct.
And I think it's irking everybody in the
because
industry.
this brokerage was doing all of this nefarious stuff for a long period of time. RECO was aware of it, didn't let the rest of the industry know, didn't notify the police authorities, and we find out all these months later. It's a terrible.
Let's talk about the timeline for a second.
Well, my understanding is that they, as early as May, RECO was aware of the fact that this was a problem, that $10 million was missing from the trust
Which we
account.
failed to tell everybody who's watching this podcast. It was 10 plus million dollars.
Correct.
We'll get into that in a second as to what they were allegedly using this money for, which in and of itself is even more repugnant.
Agreed.
But let's just talk about the timeline. So you tell us, Chris, how often does the Real Estate Council of Ontario, the body that regulates real estate brokerages in Ontario, how often do they audit the trust accounts of member brokers?
Approximately once every 4 years.
Right. And there's also there's spot checks.
There's some
right?
spot checks.
There's spot audits from
Correct.
time to time. So once every 4 years, and from what I understand from all the reading we've done on this and the intel we've been able to garner, iPro's 4-year cycle was coming up sometime this past May.
That is correct.
They knew that their time was coming up.
I think it was 2021 was the last time that they had been audited.
So they knew that their time was due and that RECO would be sending in auditors to their head office to do an analysis of the trust account. And they called RECO to say there have been some irregularities in our trust account.
Correct.
Right. They told the registrar of RECO that, and that was in May. By the time the brokerage's trust accounts were actually shut, it was 3 months later.
Correct.
Apparently some negotiation took place between the Real Estate Council of Ontario and the principals of iPro behind the back of the consuming public.
That is correct.
And behind the back of members of RECO.
And as part of those negotiations, they were exonerated. RECO agreed not to press charges against them.
All they had to do was try to figure out a way to resurrect this brokerage by opening another brokerage and at the same time relinquishing their licenses.
Correct.
Pretty nice get out for those folks, I must admit.
Yeah.
They should have instead been under police investigation the
Instantly.
very moment
Instantly.
that they notified RECO prior to that 4-year cycle coming up that there were some irregularities. As soon as they notified RECO, RECO should have contacted the Ontario Provincial Police and instituted an investigation forthwith. That's the part I think that you and I are so very upset about.
Not just you and I, Doug, the industry.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we hear about this through the industry. It's a very unfortunate turn of events. And it's cast a very, very negative eye on RECO
Yes.
as to whether they are really competent enough to continue to manage this industry. Remember, they're just the the organization that's charged by the Ontario government by legislation to run the Trust and Real Estate Services Act.
And now a potential outcome is the creation of an ombudsman to look after the affairs of RECO, which should be doing the job in the first place.
Right.
Adding another layer, more cost to the consumer, more cost to the taxpayer.
And also another layer of administration.
Correct.
Which is not what we need. We need more effective administration.
Correct.
And new regulations as to how RECO can operate. You and I have talked about this. I have a very difficult solution, but I think one that will reinvigorate the transparency that the industry needs. And that is, forget this 4-year thing. That to me is insane. I can't imagine what could go on in a 4-year cycle in a brokerage.
We have proof of what could go on in a 4-year
Right.
cycle.
So is it a cost thing only as to why they wouldn't be implementing more regular and consistent audits? It's not expensive to do. Our fees, generally speaking, for professionals
but
are
you know,
low.
I
They're
could take
low.
umbrage with what you're saying because your implication is that everyone is a criminal.
No, that's not it.
But that's the implication.
No, not at all. The issue is whether the public we can resurrect the public's position and feeling about how we run our businesses through better oversight.
More frequent oversight is what you're saying.
Frequent, agreed. More frequent oversight.
Because I can tell you, having been involved in numerous audits, the audits are quite intensive.
Right.
And they do get to the core of your back office operation and the protection of the consumer. I have no criticism of RECO in that regard. It's the length of time between the audits where, again, nefarious things can happen by people who are going to behave nefariously.
Right. And I don't think it's reasonable to expect that you're going to have 100% compliance in any profession or any industry.
It happens all the time.
It's unreasonable. But I think the person who has a check for $50,000 that they're putting into some real estate brokerage's trust account, if you told that person that that their trust account at the brokerage, who they may not even know anything about, they just happen to be the listing agent for a property they bought, that they were only going to be audited every 4 years, I think the consumer would be surprised to hear that.
How often do solicitors get audited?
Do you know the answer?
No.
Neither do I.
That's something we should find out.
That's true. But I still feel...
Maybe in the next podcast.
I think you'd be surprised if you weren't an insider in this industry to hear that it was every 4 years. That doesn't seem very frequent to me.
Well, but it's like anything else. You're expected to behave. You're expected to follow the law.
Expectations in reality are not necessarily the same. And here's a classic example, particularly when you hear about what they were doing with that money, all alleged and not yet proven in court. I get
We
that.
have Bernie Madoff.
Okay, fair enough. But,
Billions.
But these people were allegedly paying back their investors.
Okay. You know,
You started this, not me.
we should leave this.
Well,
I
you-
think
you
we've
started.
made our point. And the point is, we're unhappy with RECO.
Very unhappy.
Very unhappy with
Do you think RECO will survive this?
I don't know. I have a feeling we're going to see an ombudsman, which I hope we don't. Secondly, we have to make the point that the consumer is protected because these are one-off situations. It's not rampant
That's
within the
absolutely
industry.
that's
And I
absolutely true.
can't help but make that as clear
And
as
you know,
possible.
we can even talk about that for 1 second to substantiate your position. There are, in a good year, 90 some odd thousand transactions in Ontario alone, right? We're just in Treb, actually. And the money flows through solicitors and real estate companies' trust accounts seamlessly, honestly, and regularly.
Billions of dollars, I might add.
Billions of dollars.
You had to do
I had to do it. When
You
you
had
raised
to
it,
do
you
that.
did. I did.
You've been waiting
you
for
didn't-
10 podcasts
that's true.
to do that.
You know, this is a reference to what's the movie?
Mini-me.
Yeah, Mini-Me, Dr. Evil. Come on, help me here.
Okay, forget about it.
Austin Powers. Thank you very much. But when this broke, and we all heard about it, and it was in the papers instantly and carried on for weeks, if you remember, You and I reflected on the last time we had heard anything like this.
That's my point. We adhere to the law.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. We know the broker. We're not going to mention it here on the podcast, but we knew him both personally.
Correct.
It was a very sad story,
Mhm.
but that was probably 25 years ago. And so in that respect, there is honesty and integrity.
Correct. And that's the point we want to convey
there
to
are
the
some,
consumer.
there is and was a bad apple and a bad player, but he's a grain in the sand on a beach of thousands of brokerages.
And as there is
Thousands.
in any industry,
Yeah.
and we've named lawyers, we've named Bernie Madoff, it just happens.
Yeah. But this was really unfortunate, and it rattled the industry.
The next thing we're going to talk about is unfortunate too.
This has been a bit
But
of my
before we
pet
get there,
peeve.
may I?
No, of course. it stands like our initial position.
It does? Hasn't changed?
I don't think so. This is kind of
It's very
almost,
cloying.
almost oaky, and I don't even know what I can't even really
Do you
describe.
know what the
oak.
nose is like?
There's citrus for sure now coming.
No,
in.
no, but you know, it's a little bit like those wines that they make when they pluck the grapes after they've been frozen,
Dessert wine,
like a dessert wine.
botrytis wines you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what the nose is like.
Really? Yeah, I kind of sort of see where you're going, but it's not the case with La Chablisienne, which it has the same, but it's much more toned down. Just take a whiff of it.
This has really knocked me off my seat.
This is a wine I've enjoyed for a long time,
Likewise.
but I'm not enjoying this bottle.
No.
I mean, I'm not enjoying it at all. You know, it's possible that this is just a year too young.
Yeah. This is working. Not this.
What's
This
really
is like
interesting, when I went to the store to
Pina
buy
colada.
this, you gonna sing? Come on,
No, but
pina
come on.
colada.
You got to get to your subject.
Wait, when I went to the store this morning to Vintages to buy this, it was familiar to me because I buy this quite often. I didn't know that you did as well, which is interesting. Which leads me to the conclusion we both like it in the past.
Mhm.
This might be 1 year young.
It's quite possible because it's not like what I'm used to
Yeah, me too.
to buying and to drinking.
Yeah, we didn't do any investigation as to.
We did this. We did this as a result of a complaint.
Yeah, I'm talking about the vintage
Oh.
2023.
Yeah.
as
No, we
in-
didn't do
in-
that.
in Burgundy.
Unlike other preparation that we do for the podcast,
Yeah.
we didn't do any of that.
No,
We just did this as two accessible wines, Chablis,
that you can buy right now.
that you can buy today.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, universally, this is the winner.
100%.
Okay, and quite nice.
What about our producer?
I like the first.
Ooh, interesting. You see,
You can account for people's taste,
he's much younger than us.
like the wine.
The one is much younger than us. But he is much younger than us. And we have an old world palate. He's more conditioned probably to a newer world palate. What this aging thing captures, I got to tell you.
Okay.
Okay,
tell
this
us about
topic.
This is
I
an
have been
important subject.
I have been kind of complaining to you about this for years.
True.
Every time we walk up the street to a meeting or to a lunch or something, and I'm looking around our community right here at Yonge and St. Clair for all intent and
Although it's
purpose.
happening beyond.
Oh yeah, this is the microcosm.
Yeah.
This is the one that's
It's
very
definitely
tangible
happening
for
on a
us.
macro
Oh,
basis.
100%. That's the purpose of this article.
Yeah.
And someone is going to argue after this podcast that I'm anti-development, I'm anti-density, and that's not the case at all. I'm fully mindful of the fact that this city is going to develop skywards. We have small pieces of land left. We need a lot of housing. It has to go up, as in every major
and we're
city.
encased. We've got the green belt and we've got the lake.
I didn't put my mind to that, but that's correct. We are encased. We have very, very limited land.
Correct.
And the areas where it's built up already, it's built.
Mhm.
So if you've got a 20-story building, really tough to tear that down. So what is available are 2- and 3-story store and apartment kind of setups that littered this city all over the place when it was built.
Queen Street,
Bathurst,
King Street,
Yonge,
Bathurst, St. Clair.
Mount Pleasant,
Yeah.
Bayview, everything was store and apartment when this city was designed to accommodate about 750,000 people. But there was a charm to that. It felt very neighborhoody, very community-oriented, and it supported smaller independents. They called them indie stores. The barbershop, the florist, the patisserie, the coffee shop, the bacon and eggs place for morning, all of that.
The diner.
That's what I meant to say, diner, those kind of things. Remember the one on Bayview, for example? There was a great diner on Bayview. There was a great fish and chips store on Bayview. All of those things that made up the core essence of a community, not dissimilar to what Jane Jacobs made her cause celeb, right? That everybody's on their front porch looking out at each other, getting involved in the community. You know the kid over there walking across the street. You know everything about your neighborhood and community. We actually are losing that at a fairly precipitous rate, I would say, because we're taking up 3 or 4 or 5 storefronts, let's say, so 100 feet or 200 feet. We are demolishing those if they are not heritage protected, which we might end up talking about it a little later on today. And we're putting up these very substantial high-rise apartments, whether they're condo or rental, but I think we're talking predominantly about condo. The piece in play that has irked me for so long is not the fact that we have 40 or 50 or now 90 stories of residential units. The piece in play for me that really makes me feel like I'm part of a neighborhood is what's happening at street level. And we have this situation right here. Do you want to talk about the ones right here?
No, go ahead. I know it's troublesome to you, but it's just up the road. Because our office has been here for over 30 years, so we were part of that that community.
And not only that, what's left of it that hasn't been raised and something put in its place, we are concerned about what's going to happen.
Because it's going to be the same as the rest of them. And in fact, we're going to try and put some images up on the screen to show people the distinction between what the community was like in the areas that we're talking about and what it looks like today, where this development has taken place.
And what stirred this discussion was a very, very well-written article called The Big Box Effect, written by John Zeta. His lives in Toronto. His brother lives in the United States.
He lives in Corktown.
John does.
Yeah.
But his brother comes to Toronto and loves Queen Street West.
Correct.
Which for the most part on the north side of Queen Street West is exactly what we're talking about, that neighborhood vibe, a pizza place, a shoe store, a florist, and 2-story and 3-story buildings.
And there's a lot of them. Toronni's is out there.
The first Toronni's, I think, is there. So there's a wonderful community feel about that. So does Corsa Italia at St. Clair and Dufferin. Still those little bits left of it.
Leslieville.
For the time being,
East End.
It's starting as well, big store development there. Correct. But on the last time his brother came, he was enjoying the streetscape and the life on the street on the north side of Queen Street West, but on the south side, massive condo towers had gone up. And what he feels sterilized the community, made it very, very clinical, right?
But if I could just interrupt,
please.
Clinical not only because of the design, but also because of the inhabitants of the new street level retail.
Or the type of retail.
Correct.
Yes, that's what we're talking about. When you scrape all this back, and what we're really talking
you
about.
You don't get the mom and pop operation.
Right. You don't get the independent shoemaker or shoe store, even.
Is there shoe?
Yeah, there's one right down the street from us on Walker.
Yeah. Very few left. Try and get your shoes repaired somewhere.
That's my point.
In this throwaway society that we live in.
It's a good tangent, but that's true. So what's the problem? We're talking really only about what's happened to the street level of our communities. And right here at Yonge and St. Clair, we have a fantastic example. There's a building, condo, very nice condo, a beautiful condo actually, 6 Jakes. They have about 6 or 8 very large main floor commercial spaces. Have
I've been by.
I don't know how long Jake's has been up. It's been quite some time now. I'm going to say
at least 5 or 6 years.
At least 5 or 6. And none of those stores are occupied. Yeah. But interestingly, across the street is number 1 Balmoral And they have all sorts of smaller places. So something has happened in the development world where condos used to be put up with smaller, digestible spaces for independent.
But that one that you're talking about on the west side is almost 20 years old now.
Precisely. But there is a florist.
Yeah. Bookstore.
No, that's further north. I'm talking about one more right
Oh yeah,
here.
that is further north. Yes.
Yeah, there's a florist.
But that bookstore's in a new building.
Yes, it was there before and it got replaced.
Yes.
Yeah. So some developers, clearly, even in our immediate community, are very sensitive to, I think, are sensitive to maintaining that community feel by creating smaller spaces, commercial spaces on the main floor, street level, that someone like a florist could,
Like a bookstore.
like an optometrist,
Yeah.
like an eyeglass store. The eyeglass store that we went to for years and years is gone now because there's a development going and she couldn't afford to stay and they threw her out anyhow. So how do we
How do we
get this?
Bother you? It bothers me too.
I know it does.
But how do we do something about
Is
this?
it-
Is there a solution?
I think there is.
What do you think the solution is? Which one are you drinking now?
I'm not interested in Lefebvre at all.
Okay.
I
Either am
don't
I,
even
actually.
like it.
I think we give it to the producer.
We can get, yes, he's taking it anyways already. He likes it, and that's fine. It's yours. Enjoy it. Before we get into what the solution is, what the current problem is that's littering the downtown core are these spaces are so big, the commercial spaces on the main floor, that what tenants are being attracted to these?
Big commercial tenants.
Exactly, like A&W,
A&W.
Shoppers Drug Mart,
Yeah.
Dollarama, big commercial. That's why this is called the big box effect.
Mhm.
And his brother is saying, now when you look across the street on Queen Street West, it's the suburbanization effect.
Yeah, and-
you can't
and-
tell whether you're in a suburban environment or in the core of the city.
And a homogeneity to the whole thing.
Correct. They
Whereas-
all look the same.
Correct.
And there's no diversity in the stores because every second condo has an A&W in it.
Correct.
So that's
why A&W.
Well, I've never been to A&W, but apparently the Uncle Burger is really Teen Burger is really good. I've never been. Fresh, never frozen. So you know why? So
Believe
no, I think that's. There's no way that's true.
I think you've eaten before.
I've never been to A&W.
Okay.
I'm going to though.
Focus.
So there it is. What do you do when you can see the smaller condo building commercial spaces are occupied by independent stores, but the big ones are not for the most
But the
part.
author of that article had some examples
Of cities that are
with a
doing
view
better.
to some solutions.
So
for
is
us.
this a legislative issue? Do we, as part of the building permit
Now you
application?
will get me going.
Go.
Legislative?
Yes.
That means you're counting on government?
Yes. You know, government
Are you
isn't
well
all
today,
government
Doug?
isn't all bad. I know you.
I
think
know
it
you
is.
started the day by going to the vintage store, but having said that,
It's gone downhill from
I
there.
think
Well, if you don't stop the developer from just putting up,
how are you going
you
to
legislate it the same way that you legislate a building permit as
They'll
part
never
of
do it.
it. Well, then they won't do it. That's
They'll
fine.
never do it.
So it's better just to perpetuate this.
Oh, I'm in agreement with you,
Well,
but I just
so
can't see government.
Okay, so what's the
stepping in.
solution? You're going to talk about the London, England solution, and that was legislated by building code. How else are you going to do it? How am I going to stop you from saying, no, I'm going to build this condo building, and I want an A&W, a Shoppers Drug Mart, and a Dollarama. And I'm going to say to you as a community committee, that's not what we want. There's 5 beautiful little stores here. They're independent. There's a coffee shop, a baker, and a candlestick maker. You're going to raise all that. You're going to put in a Dollarama. We don't want that. Developer's going to say, what? Too bad, I'm doing it anyhow.
But is there a future for the small retailers?
Mm.
Because even
Is this just a hope and a prayer of mine that we can maintain the community vibe? Is that just am I being unrealistic about this?
well, one of the things that you're very upset with, I know, is the home hardware. that we
The home
lost.
hardware is a very upsetting matter. and to you as well.
It is to me. I mean, we used it for 30 years. At least I did.
And
But it was there, I think, even before that.
I think that place has been there for 75 years. So the developer pushes out Home Hardware, doesn't renew their lease. They put a
And
present.
just for the purposes of our audience, it was a small Home Hardware. It was a neighborhood Home Hardware. It wasn't one of the big Home Hardwares that you see in a massive mall or plaza development.
Yeah. It's not like a Home Depot.
Correct.
It was a neighborhood shop. It was 40 feet front, I think 2 20-foot storefronts. The same two guys worked the floor and the shelves for as long as I've been here,
Likewise.
which is 30
Likewise.
years.
That's what I remember as well.
So you go and you say, hey, John, his name was John, I'm looking for a thing that, you push it in, then you turn it and it hooks to the other thing. And John says, yeah, I got one of those. Come with me. Now that place is gone. What are you going to do? Order that little thing on Amazon or go to Leaside to the Home Depot?
I'm still trying to get my head around that little.
Like a hook for a door or a cabinet or something. Something you can't really it's a little hook. You know what I mean? Well, you can't do that anymore. And it's gone. And it was, they put in a presentation center there for a condo, which they left the condo presentation center open for 15 months maybe, something like that. Then they canceled the project.
Yeah, they've shelved the project now.
Shelved the project. And
As they have.
all over the
And
city.
one of our podcasts dealt with that whole issue of what's happening in the pre-construction world. And I think we should probably come back and revisit it.
Because it's gotten worse.
I think we're going to be running out of time because I was going to talk a little bit about the what's happening in the real estate market.
That might have to wait another
But
podcast.
I think we should have another podcast sooner than what we normally do them, because I think
It's very timely.
for the public and for our audience to be aware of that. But yeah, that is the concern that you're raising, Doug, that is troublesome to all of us.
But there is one that, without being continuously negative about this, there is one little area in our community that has been maintained beautifully with new and old. Yes, it's the Rosedale Village right
Correct.
here. So behind the stores that they call now the Five Thieves is a building called the James. It's a rental building, which you and I think, believe is a very, very lovely,
Extremely well done.
beautifully done, elegant building, integrates superbly into the
Beautifully
stores.
done. The architecture,
Excellent.
the materials that have been used,
Good point.
the color
Yes,
of the materials
yes.
that have been
The
used.
wraparound
Brilliant.
brick, very, very nice. So what was the government initiative in that case that did force something of that nature? Heritage.
There's a Greek restaurant going in there.
Yeah, Mamakis.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. I've never been to it. It's on Ossington, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been.
Maybe we can get podcast in Mamakas when it first opens.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, we'll tell them. Look, it's good for promotion. We'll
We were at Tironi,
We were
so
at Tironi's
we'll
right
set
across
up a
the
little
road.
bit of bidding war maybe.
The problem is the Greek wines. Whoa,
Do they have Greek wines? No, they don't.
there are Greek wines.
I know, but not at Mamakis.
Of course there are.
Oh,
Of course there are.
I see. Anyhow, that is
There would be an ethnic breach.
Focus.
It would be an
Focus.
ethnic breach if they didn't have.
If you raise the word Greek in front of this gentleman, the tangents are a mile wide. Aren't you pleased with the way that Rosedale community piece has been preserved?
100%.
And
In fact, if you look at those buildings, they're exactly the same as they were 100 years ago.
yeah, and the train station.
Yeah.
So there is
And even across the street,
those are all heritage buildings as
all
well.
heritage as well.
Where
And you get
Sorrel
the-
Restaurant
Yeah,
is,
you get
for
the
example.
same sort of
Yes.
feeling of community
Right.
when you're there.
So,
So what do we do? Do we do a
but that's government intervention,
Yeah.
my friend Chris,
okay?
isn't it?
I'm on
Is it
side.
not-
If you think that they can do it, because they have failed us, in my opinion, repeatedly when it comes to development. All about the fees.
What about the style of buildings?
I don't think they've ever really inputted in that regard.
Because our building code doesn't mandate it,
Yeah.
nor do community
So it would take a
standards mandate it.
huge.
Like Montreal, for
Yeah.
example, where even a commercial building has to go through a design, feasibility, and community test, and you go down to Maisonneuve and Sherbrooke
I
and
agree.
Montreal,
I agree.
and the commercial buildings are beautiful.
I agree.
They have something unique and special in each one of them because they know that the legacy that what they put up is a legacy forever.
Correct.
And we are insensitive to that in this city, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. Just to close off on this, because we're running out of time, but if you go further south on Yonge Street, what used to be the Yonge Street strip, it's changing dramatically.
Where are we talking?
I'm talking, say, from Dundas down or from College down.
Yeah, College. Okay.
It's all changing exactly.
Where Sam the record man used to be.
Exactly the same way that you've just described it.
Right.
It used to be vibrant, sometimes seedy.
A little edgy.
But vibrant
Yeah.
nonetheless.
Inner city.
All gone.
Yeah. Now they're putting up massive towers, for
All
example, in the corner of it, southeast of Gerrard and
It's going to
Yonge.
be one of the tallest in the city.
Right. And you can imagine what's going to be going on the main floor.
Right.
Same kind of thing. I think this has to be addressed
I agree.
somehow
I agree.
on a civic basis, on a regulatory basis. Something has to be done because once those things are up and those massive stores are on the main floor,
The community's gone.
the community is gone. And that's what I'm lamenting. And I think so is this guy, this gentleman. and
He wrote a very good article. He
Very
should be
good article.
commended for it.
Absolutely.
And I hope people paid attention to it.
And if they haven't, I'm just going to repeat his name because bravo to him. His name is John Zada or Zada.
And the
Z-A-D.
title of it?
The Big Box Effect. It was in the Globe and Mail. I wrote it on yours, September 25th or something.
September 27th.
September 27th of this year, John Zada. Look it up, The Big Box Effect.
Here's to
A
John.
very, very, very well written
And
article.
here's to all our
Cheers, brother.
listeners and our viewers.
Yes, thank you for your patronage. Looking forward to seeing you next time. And thank you
But,
to our
I
producers.
do like to put out a little criticism to the person who criticized us because at the end of the day,
Yes. Good point.
these wines are not quite measuring up to what we're used to, but they're accessible.
La Chablisienne, you and I would drink quite happily.
Yes. And I'm
This,
going to have a little
not so much. Thank you, everybody.